Hey guys, Chaotic Jackson here with the second to final deck showcase of this season 1. This is one of my two most anticipated decks for myself that I wanted to do. These are my two most well constructed decks. There are a few cards of course that would be also suitable for them, but to be honest, it's not really necessary. These decks are practically complete. Some of them you might say might require a few XYZs or a few sinkers, but on a standalone job, they are monstrously powerful. Some would say overpowerful, and some would also say pretty typical. Decks aren't hard to construct, or decks are just, oh, everyone uses those. Well, does anyone use them in the actual cards? Probably not. Both of these might scream to you, oh, he's built it from a structure deck. But actually, I had to get most of these cards either from packs or from literally trading from others. The second one, well, you'll see in a while, but the first one here is going to be my Dark Wolf deck. Oh no, I hear you cry. That's going to be very, very typical. Dark Wolves in a dual card form, I don't think it's really typical. I mean, sure, on Dueling Network, yes, typical. But this is my version, and I hope you enjoy it. Starting off with the normals, we have a Zor, Knight of Dark Wolf, just for a relatively good attacker, and Ren, just a defense. Then we start off with Cerulean. If it's discarded, you summon its opponent's side of the field, and if it's discarded by a Dark Wall effect, your opponent immediately must discard one card. Then Scar, so that when it's destroyed by battle, I can search out other Dark Wall monsters, as long as they're level 4 or lower. Kaki, when it's discarded, I get to destroy one card. Gran, for spell and trap card destruction. Brow, when this is all, by the way, effects of advent and discarded, to draw one, and when they're discarded by an opponent's card effect, I get to draw an extra one. And then two Beiges, which are special summoned, are special summoned when they are discarded. However, there is a bit of a problem with that then, because it says they have to be special summoned when they're discarded. Which means for this, I actually don't have an extra deck for this, so in a sense, yeah, I probably could do it with an extra deck. Let me know in the comments if you know any good dark XYZs that would work well with Dark World monsters. And heck, if you know of any Dark World cards that are coming out in the future, I've heard there might be one or two. Let me know. Perhaps drop a link. And we carry on. To Braun, Mad King of Dark World. If it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you get to discard one card. You can discard one card. And then two golds. When it's discarded by a card effect or by opponent's card effect, you can target two cards your opponent controls, up to two cards your opponent controls, destroy those targets, and then special summon this card. Or no, special summon this card, then destroy those targets. Which means if it's unsuccessfully summoned, you won't be able to destroy the cards. But most of the time, if it is, you can destroy them. Then Silver, Warlord, that's basically just special summon. It goes, yeah, especially in the graveyard. If it's discarded by opponent's one, your opponent returns two cards in their hand to the bottom of the deck in any order. And then Rainbow. This is only if it's discarded by opponent's card effect. You can special summon this card, and when it is special summoned this way, destroy all monsters your opponent controls, all spell and trap cards they control. Now, you might be wondering, how can you do that? How can you get your opponent to make you discard cards? There are ways around this, and of course, using it against certain decks which utilize discards. For example, the level 2 or lower flips with cards like Morphing Jar. And next, of course, the main one, Grapha. If it's discarded by a card effect, you could destroy one opponent controls. If it's discarded by opponents, you can look at one random card in their hand, and if it's a monster, you can special summon it to your side of the field. However, its main effect is this. If it's in the graveyard, you can return one Dark World monster you control to your hand to special summon this card. Meaning if you have a Beige on the field and you're just like, I don't need that. Or even a Renge, and it's like, you don't need that, put it back in your hand and just summon out Grapha. Then of course, obviously with the field spells, two Gates for discard effect and attack increase. Then 2 Dark Lord Lightning to destroy set cards and use discards because it's a card effect discard, not a card cost. Same with Dark Lord Dealings, when each player draws one and discards one, it's a card effect, and it gives you much more draw power. Then 2 Gateway to Dark Lord, so you can re-special summon your Dark Lord monsters even during your opponent's battle phase to give them a quick surprise. And then here's the one for you. Dark Deal. When your opponent activates, well, you can only activate this card by paying 1,000 life points when your opponent activates a normal spell card. You change that card's effect to your opponent discards one random card, meaning you discard one random card. If it's correct, and if of course, if it's one of your Dark Worlds, your specific Dark Worlds with that secondary effect, it will activate because it's technically your opponent's card effect. And that's one way of doing it. Next, of course, the Forces of Darkness to add 2 Dark Lord monsters from your graveyard to your hand. Again, for more discard power with Kaki and Gren, because that's why I only need one of them, because I can just have a Forces of Darkness, so I can bring them back. And then Dark Spirit Art Greed. Unfortunately, this can be very easily negated by your opponent by them revealing one spell card. But if it's not negated, you can by triggering one Dark Monster, you can draw 2 more cards. Again, for the draw power of it. And with something like Beige, and you've used it special summon for discard effect, it's brilliant. Easy card. And then one of the cards I've heard is actually banned now, which is a bit of annoying. Card Destruction. Discard an entire hand and draw the same amount as what you would discard of each player. Which of course allows you to spam lots and lots of Dark World effects. Of course, I am being pretty fair with that by only running one of it. Because to be honest, let's face it, it's probably the sort of card that should be rather limited, if anything. Particularly in the new XYZ era, where you could probably, in which you can summon like 4 monsters in one turn. Very easily. The Dark Lord, I mean, sure, you get to do multiple effects, but it's still pretty much nothing compared to the quick XYZ summons you can do sometimes. Next card, Forced Requisition. With this one, every time you discard after activating it, you can only activate it after you've discarded something. Each time you discard, your opponent must discard that same amount of cards. Meaning with card destruction, your opponent would draw their hand again. They would draw the same amount of cards they discarded, and then discard. And then if you, say, discarded more cards than them, they would discard their entire hand again. Leaving them with literally nothing. And then a basic one, Burden of the Mighty, just really to lower your opponent's attack to an absolute minimum. Of course, it's useless against XYZ decks, but hey. Another main one, I believe this might ban as well, might be just limited, Monster Reborn. To be honest, it's not exactly dead in this deck, considering some of the cards I run. Some of the cards are actually important to this deck. Cannot really be special summoned. They're not Dark Worlds, oddly enough. Next one, Lightning Vortex. Yeah, you don't get to use a Dark World effect with it, but you do get to put some in the graveyard. Say you use Grapha, you might not be able to use his first attack, but you can certainly use his second, if necessary. Next one, Jar of Greed, again for more draw power. Trap Hole, again for basic negation and stuff. Regeki Rake, again another card that allows you to destroy something, and doesn't have to be face down, and again, the discard is part of the card effect. It was a Dark World card before it was cool. Another good dark one, they're all fiends here, Wall of Illusion. Basically, any monster that battles attacking this monster is returned to the owner's hand after the damage step. Well, pretty much. Damage calculation is applied normally, which means you can effectively build a basic defense whilst you're waiting for your good draws to come out. Another good one is Belial, or if you want to call him the Devil, Marquis of Darkness. Your opponent cannot target any face-up monster you control except Belial for an attack or with spell and trap card effects, which can pretty much lock down your opponent if, say, they want to destroy your Grapha. They pretty much can't. Now, admittedly, Belial would be the highest attack with 2,800 of all the cards. I think, actually, I think Grapha has, like, the same attack. Hang on. Let's check things. Yeah, it has, like, 100 less. So, although it would have more, it would stop it would stop your opponent from destroying any of your other monsters, or like attacking if they want to, like if they've got like something like they've used like a temporary attack increase like Rush Recklessly or Ego Boost, they will only be able to attack Belial, stopping a lot of damage. And since Belial really isn't essential for Dark World stuff, it's pretty useful. And that is all of them. Actually, that's every card in this deck. Wait, no, that's not those people. Put them in the wrong place. That was a fail. Next one is just a high attack one, Summon Skull. Just a general high attack monster. I could replace it with something else, but again, the fact that you tribute summon it again allows you to get rid of cards that Beige, if necessary. Another one, which is a really good card, Gravitic Orb. This can work well against your opponent for defensive purposes or for offensive purposes. Say if you just used a quick play something to discard Gren or something to destroy. I don't know, if your opponent is using level limit. Do that, then chain Gravitic Orb, and you can change all your Dark World back into attack, including one you might have just summoned for whatever reason, just to really troll your opponent, and basically go on the offensive with it. Gravitic Orb, of course, doesn't have much attack or defense, but because its effect is pretty good. And then the next to the second to most important card in this deck, two Dark Crusaders. You can discard, basically the effect is, you discard one dark monster to give this card 400 extra attack. It's a permanent, and it's a card effect, as to discard. So Dark World effects will activate, and this card will become very powerful very quickly. And then finally, something that relies on all those discards in the graveyard, something that is the Dark Brother. One of the things I mentioned in one of my first videos. You guessed it, it's the one, the only, Dark Rainbow Dragon. Oh well, Rainbow Dark Dragon, or whatever. I really messed up that for a dramatic effect. But yeah, banish 7 dark monsters from your graveyard, especially on this card. It has 4,000 attack. So, after you've wrecked their back row, beaten down all their monsters, going for a last push, bring this thing out. And if you really need something, if you really need to just beat down your opponent, you can banish all of the dark monsters from your graveyard, and this card gains 500 attack for each other card banished this way. And since by the time you've, been able to got that card in your hand, you've probably got a lot of dark monsters in your graveyard, more than enough to summon it and maybe banish, I don't know, at least 2, so you can bring it up to 5,000. So, or even more than 5,000, which means you can pretty much beat even the likes of Malefic Truth, which is substantial. Anyway, that was the Dark World deck showcase. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, leave a like, give a comment, maybe subscribe. I honestly say I don't know every single time. I don't know why. I mean, it's stupid. But yeah. Basically, tell me your thoughts on the deck. If you think it runs good, and let me know. If you think it needs something, it's missing something, some of the cards should be moved out, or I don't know, a better card that could make the deck legal, let me know. Let me know in the comments. This is Chaotic Jacksack signing off. Thank you guys once again.